Welcome to our monthly-ish Cool Tools video. I went around the shop and I collected 7 more tools that I think you'd like to see, including an entirely different way to create pocket hole joinery, a companion for your bandsaw, what may be the best turning tools on the market, a dust collector that you can wear on your head, a carbide scroll saw blade, a drill chuck I didn't know I needed, and a piece of plastic that makes my shop safer. These videos are meant to be fun and interesting, sort of like show and tell when we were kids. But we're going to have to move quickly to fit it all in a reasonable amount of time, so I'll link to the tools below if you wish to learn more, and there's also sometimes some discount codes down there. Now let's get on with it. I've used pocket hole joinery for a long time. It's a great way to assemble cabinets and drawers, and a well-placed pocket screw has gotten me out of a lot of sticky situations over the years. But I admit to being ignorant about the different types of pocket cutters out there. I thought they were all the same. Use a special drill bit to bore an angled pocket and pilot hole, and then you drive home your screw and you're done. Sure, I often got tear out, especially as the drill bit got dull, and the angle of the fastener would always cause my workpieces to shift when I drove home the screws, which was a pain in the butt. But I accepted these things as drawbacks of this type of joinery. Then I was at a woodworking show, I think in Atlanta, and I saw the Castle 110 pocket cutter. It's a benchtop pocket hole machine that can also be carried to your workpiece and serve as a portable tool. But more importantly, it creates the pockets in a different way. In fact, there are 3 primary reasons I think this is a better way to cut pocket holes. First, instead of utilizing that stepped drill bit, this machine cuts the pockets with a router bit. That produces a cleaner pocket that's free from tear out. Second, the through holes are bored from the opposite end of the pocket. This also produces a cleaner hole without leaving those annoying little bits of wood that sometimes are left behind by the regular jigs that inevitably get out and into your joint and keep it from fully closing. And third, the Castle machine produces a steeper 3-degree pocket and hole compared to the 15-degree angle of a regular jig. The strength benefits of a more centered screw in the joint are obvious, but this also makes the joint easier to assemble as the steeper screw doesn't shift the workpiece out of alignment as it's driven home. The tool itself is of top quality. It's aluminum and steel. I like that it can be clamped down to the bench through the holes in the side, or you can carry this as a portable power tool to your workbench and clamp it onto a large panel. The dust port on the front is a nice touch. It works well with any shop vac hose. I also like how easy it is to set the clamp for different wood thicknesses because it's a 3-position clamping mechanism. Once adjusted, it's quick and secure for fast production. And here's another clever innovation. The distance between the end of the pocket and the end of the board, I think they call that the web, is adjustable. This means you can use a single screw length for multiple thicknesses of wood rather than keeping different boxes of different size screws on hand. You can probably tell I'm excited about this tool. You've got to check it out for yourself at the link below. The Bandsaw Companion is a clever little tool with many uses, particularly for tuning up your bandsaw. Every woodworker knows that his table saw's blade, miter slots, and fence should all be parallel to each other, but the same is true for your bandsaw. And the Bandsaw Companion makes these alignment tasks easy. There are a couple different ways to use it. One method is demonstrated at the chipsfly.com website. You may find your own favorite uses for it. I like to use it to align my saw's fence and miter slot first. I slip it into the miter slot and slide the saw's fence up to its end. Then I check both ends of the fence to make sure they're equal in distance from the miter slot. If they aren't, I adjust my fence as needed. Now that the fence and the miter slot are parallel, I can align them both to the blade at the same time. So I attach it to the side of the blade via the 2 rare earth magnets. Notice there's a slot in the body of the tool to accommodate the set in the blade's teeth. I want it to hang freely above the table. The fence can now be slid up to the tool. It's full 12-inch length, making it easy to see if that fence is now parallel to the blade. If it's not, adjust it by loosening the table mounts and nudging the entire table clockwise or counterclockwise as needed. Doing it this way will adjust both the fence and the miter slots parallel to the blade at the same time. Finally, a square may be used in conjunction with the tool to align your miter gauge fence perpendicular to the blade. This is my process for using this handy tool. It's a little different from the process on their website, So I recommend you use the link below the video to check that out. And you'll also see some other clever things you can do with the bandsaw companion, including using it as a compass for bowl blanks or as a marking tool, even snapping the magnets right on the side of your saw for storage. You'll find that link below the video. When I decided to get more serious about wood turning, I spent a lot of time researching turning tools. I wanted quality, lifetime tools that would perform well and stay sharp a long time. I identified a handful of top brands, all of which make great tools, but I kept coming back to Carter & Son for several reasons. First, I can feel the quality the moment I pick it up. The milled aluminum handles are heavy and well balanced. The shape fits my hand better than any other tool I've used. I like the long handles for leverage, but I can also adjust the length that the tool protrudes from the handle or swap to a smaller handle if I need more maneuverability. The tool itself comes out for easier sharpening, but I don't have to do that nearly as often as I did with my older tools because these are M42 high-speed steel. We can make a whole video about turning tool steel, and we probably will sometime. But M42 is significantly more durable than standard M2 high-speed steel, which many turning tools are made from. And M42 will completely blow away your older carbon steel tools. These stay sharp about 5 times as long as my regular high-speed steel gouges, and they take a sharper edge than even my high-tech powdered steel tools. Not only does this mean more time spent at the lathe and less at the grinder, but it also means you're grinding less of the tool away with each sharpening, so they'll last many times longer than other tools. This isn't just my opinion. Folks smarter than me and more experienced than I am rate M42 above other turning tool steels as well. Carter & Son is a small family-owned business with exceptional quality and service. They're exactly the type of brand I like to work with. I still have a lot to learn about wood turning, but I'm confident that I have my tool needs figured out. Check them out for yourself at the link below the video. Since I've been getting more into wood turning, I find myself using my Trend Air Shield more. It's the perfect lathe and safety accessory because it protects my face and my lungs at the same time. But it's not just for turners. I've had one for years and I've used it all over the shop because it's a face shield and a portable air filtration system for all that fine airborne dust that your dust collector doesn't catch. It works by pulling the dusty air in through the filters on the top, removing anything larger than half a micron, and then channeling that clean air down across your brow. This creates a light positive pressure behind the shield, which means it doesn't have to seal tightly around your face. Nothing can come up beneath the mask because of that positive airflow that's coming out. This makes it perfect for people with beards or mustaches, or who just have trouble getting dust masks and respirators to seal comfortably on their faces. It's also great for people like me with eyeglasses. In fact, I find safety glasses can be difficult to properly fit around half-mask respirators. This gives you eye and lung protection at the same time. I even find that light breeze across my forehead to be refreshing on a hot day in the shop. It's powered by rechargeable, replaceable battery packs that last about 8 hours each. The filters are for dust and airborne particles, but not for finishes and fumes. It does add a little weight to your head, just over 2 pounds, so it takes a little getting used to, but it's well balanced and comfortable to wear for long periods of time. As I said, I've had one of these for years and I've used it all over the shop. I recently got a second one for Pete and Danny as well. Since you don't exhale into the filters, it's not nasty to share like a regular respirator would be. If you're struggling with keeping the fine dust out of your lungs, this is definitely something you should check out. I'll link to it below the video. I saw these at Duragrit.com a few months back, and I had to get some for the stash because he's the scroll saw man around here. They're called 360 carbide scroll saw blades, and they're great for cutting in any direction. They're a heavy wire covered in coarse bits of carbide, but the 60 grit isn't so aggressive that it makes the work difficult to hold down. In fact, they make great sanding tools as well as cutting blades. Because they cut in any direction, you can significantly reduce your twists and spins simply by cutting sideways and even backwards. They work well with all sorts of wood, but Mike did report that they cut more slowly when going across the grain. Perhaps he thought 25% slower than a typical blade. This is likely due to the wide kerf that they leave. They're just over 5 inches long, and they fit clamp-type scroll saws. They last a very long time, though they do become slightly less aggressive once broken in. Not only do they cut wood, they may also be used on ceramic tile, fiberglass, carbon fiber, rigid foam, plastics and PVC, and some thin metals such as aluminum and brass. I think that is where these blades will really find their place in your kit. They won't totally replace your steel blade since they do create a wide kerf and therefore quite a bit more dust than a standard blade, but they're definitely something anybody with a scroll saw should check out. I'll put a link in the description below, as well as a discount code. I've been using my high-tech Nova Voyager drill press for about 3 years now, and I still love all of its hidden features that make my life easier. But one convenience it lacked was a keyless chuck. So a few months ago, I ordered one from Nova, and I've been wondering how I ever lived without it before. For one thing, it eliminated the problem that I always had of carrying the chuck key off and leaving it somewhere else in the shop. It's also made bit changes faster, which may not be a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but I come out to the shop to enjoy myself, and little things like that make my time more enjoyable. It will fit bits as small as a millimeter up to 5/8 of an inch. It holds securely without slippage, and as a bonus, the number 2 taper also fits in my lathe, so I can have the same keyless good time there as well. Do you need a keyless chuck? I don't know, but if you're like me, you probably want one. And the Nova version comes at a good price considering the heavy-duty quality. Check it out if you like at the link below. Our cheap tool of the month is actually an accessory to my favorite featherboard. This is the Hedgehog Tall Stacking Accessory. It makes it possible to stack 2 Hedgehog featherboards together at a total height of 2¼ inches for holding workpieces on edge at the table saw, at the router table, or even the bandsaw. Hedgehog featherboards are fantastic because they're fast and easy to adjust, meaning you'll be more likely to use them. And this new tall stack accessory makes them even more useful. Check them out at the link below this video. That's it for this edition of Cool Tools. Don't forget to check out those links below, and I'll see you next time. Wait, don't go yet. If you're new here, please subscribe, and remember to ring the bell. I would really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up, or better yet, leave us a comment. I always read them. And be sure to check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. It's always packed with tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker.